Alright, hello guys. I know it's been a little while since I filmed a video and I apologize for that. Life has just been really crazy. And I also apologize because I'm going to be filming like 3 videos while sitting in this one spot. So if you see a lot of videos with me wearing the same outfit, that is why. I'm sure you could also tell, like, I don't know why this is, but I'm just super low energy today. And I'm not really sure why. I took care of myself, I made breakfast, I went on a walk, I got enough sleep, I even slept through a class, but I'm not really sure what it is. So I guess some of the things that I wanted to talk about today are, this video, it's going to be about mental health. So I'm very excited about that because on October 10th, it was World Mental Health Day. And I think mental health is a really important topic that isn't talked about enough, so I'm excited. So let's get right into it. Alright, so I only have like 10 minutes before I'm going to a meeting, so I'm going to try and make this short, but basically I just wanted to use this space to kind of tell you guys a little bit about my own experience with mental health, what it means to me. I'm trying to get comfortable in a way that's not super weird, but so basically a little bit about me. I was born with obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, and a lot of people say they have OCD, but it's not actually true. They don't really know what it means. So once again, OCD stands for obsessive compulsive disorder, and it's an anxiety-based disorder where you have certain anxieties that trigger like panic inside of you, or worries that trigger anxiety and panic, and then to get rid of those anxieties you practice compulsions, or like the compulsive part of the disorder. So an example of somebody, like a very common example, and this is why a lot of people assume people with OCD are very fastidious or very clean, is people have to organize everything, like alphabetically or by color. They have to organize all their pencils, make sure they're sharpened to a certain amount. And that is a trait of some people with OCD, but not all people have the same type of OCD. It's very different. And that's not exactly the type that I have. So I guess I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about like my history with OCD and mental illness and just life and where I'm at now. So let's see, how much time do I have? Okay. I want to make it not too long because I could talk about mental health and my own journey for like hours, but I'm trying to condense it into 10 minutes here. So basically, I've always had OCD. I was born with it. I'm not exactly sure what causes it. I've done a lot of research, and scientists are seeming to conclude that it's due to a chemical imbalance in a person's brain. So I think I have a chemical imbalance where something is kind of wrong with, I think, either my amygdala, so my fear factor, like it gets triggered extra easily, or something is wrong with the amount of like the certain chemicals, like my serotonin levels and something like that. I'm not exactly sure, so don't quote me on that. But I used to do all these little anxiety things when I was little. Like when I was 3, I had to touch every door first that I went into, and if I didn't touch it first, if my parents did, I would have a meltdown. Or I had to like stomp my feet 3 times before entering a room, and all these little things that people just thought were a phase. And then fast forward through elementary school and middle school, I was a very big perfectionist, and that actually I'm realizing now was a product of OCD. But then I get all the way to 8th grade. So I'm 13 years old, and all of a sudden I start having really bad anxiety about the most random things. And for instance, some of my anxiety was about cheating and test taking, and that sounds so weird. Like, why? I've never cheated on a test in my life, that's the truth, or anything, I don't think. And so why would I have these fears? But basically what would happen was, as I was taking tests in 8th grade, I would think that I had just seen somebody else's answers, and because I had that thought in my mind, I would assume that I had actually done it, because usually people don't think about something unless it's just happened or you're processing it, right? So I would always assume that it had just happened, and so I kept thinking that I had cheated on exams, which would freak me out. I didn't know what to do. I was so upset, and I would go home crying to my parents, and they were like, but you didn't cheat. And I was like, exactly. And they were like, so what's the problem? And I was like, I don't know, but I feel like I did. And I would go to my teachers, and I'd be like, I think I cheated. And they were like, what? That is never something you should do. Just word of advice, never go to your teacher and tell them you think you cheated, because that got me into some sticky situations. And so anyways, nobody knew what was wrong with me, and none of my friends had the same problem, the same issue. And I started to realize that I couldn't talk about this openly, because if I did, people were going to think I was crazy or call me weird or not want to be my friend anymore. And so I really bottled everything up. Every time I had a new fear, and the fears would keep growing, they would manifest because I wasn't doing anything, it wasn't going to therapy, so they'd become bigger. Like, I was afraid if I didn't wash my hands before dinner, I would unintentionally give a germ to my entire family that would like make everybody sick. And so I would get panicked before eating every meal, or if I prepared a meal, I would be freaking out. I would have like panics, and I just couldn't do anything about it. And I wasn't telling my family. I would just go off into my room and just cry. So I don't know, it just thinking about it makes me really sad, like a 13-year-old kid crying alone in their room all the time, thinking that they're like gonna do something horrible when really it's just because like they forgot to wash their hands or something like that. So I ended up living like that for 2 years. I didn't tell anybody. Nobody figured out I had OCD. I hid it super well from my parents. I would pretend to be super happy, pretend to have all these friends, when in reality I was so isolated, so depressed. And finally, when I was 15, so a sophomore in high school, my mom and my sister started to figure something out, because, and I don't blame them, my parents, because mental health still isn't something that's really talked about, and people don't always know when their kids are just going through phases or if something's wrong. And I was hiding it so well. But eventually my mom found me, and I was just crying in my bed. And I every day I would come home and I would just go to my bed and I would sob, and I couldn't do my homework. I wouldn't want to see my friends. I wouldn't want to exercise. I wouldn't want to do anything that I used to want to do. And she decided at that point it was time to see a therapist. And so I started going to therapy. And it was super helpful. I got diagnosed with OCD while going to therapy, and it was both the best feeling in the world to know that there was actually something diagnosable, like that was wrong with me, or not, I wouldn't say wrong with me, but different about me, unique about me. But the other really hard thing was knowing that it was a chronic disorder. So I'm gonna have OCD for my entire life. And even now, that's sometimes a little bit hard to think about, you know? Like, I'm going to be living with this, and I'm always going to have this little brain battle for my whole life. But it's gotten so much better. I kept going to therapy. I started telling people, and I was so worried at first that they wouldn't be supportive, but everybody was so nice. All my friends stuck with me. And I ended up joining the mental health club on campus. I spoke about my disorder in front of the entire school one day at a school-wide assembly. And I've done a lot of work for OCD awareness and mental health awareness. I've gone to international OCD conferences to talk to people. I've brought different authors, various authors to my schools to talk about OCD and what it is. And I'm just a huge advocate for mental health. And so I guess that's why I'm making this video, just because, like, obviously I don't have all the time in the world. I've already used up like 8 minutes, but mental health is such a pervading issue, and it really hits home for many of us. So many people have anxiety, depression, something. There's so many different disorders and things out there, and we never really talk about them, I feel like, because obviously there's a stigma. But I guess I just wanted to use this time today to talk about, this has like been my own battle with OCD and mental illness, and I'm still here. I'm doing well. I was an honors student throughout high school. I graduated in the top 10% of my class. And I'm not saying this to brag, but I'm just saying, like, your life isn't over just when you get diagnosed with something. You can still do amazing things, be a leader, be an inspiration to other people. And even now, like, I still have struggles with mental health. I take medication now, and I feel so much better. So if you resonate with anything I've said, I would highly recommend talking to your parents or a medical practitioner about medication, because I really think it can be very valuable, and I'm a huge proponent of medication. But I guess the other thing I just wanted to say is it's not over, obviously. Like, I'm not trying to say my life's perfect now. My life's so much better now that I've gone to therapy, talked to my friends about it, and am on medication and have like those available resources, which I'm very fortunate to have. But it's not perfect. I'm still struggling with mental health stuff. I don't know. Today I just felt like I wanted to cry for no reason. I think it's because it's getting darker earlier and that makes me sad. And also I'm lonely and it's hard to stay motivated in my house right now. And also I'm terrified. Like, I know some of you who are going to watch this, you go to my school right now. And I'm really, really scared to go back to school because I had a bad experience my freshman year. It was just really, really hard on me. And I didn't transition very well. I don't feel like I was the person I wanted to be. I don't think I was the person I hope to be in my future. And I'm so afraid that if I go back, I'll be really depressed again, or I won't be able to make friends. And that's a vulnerable thing. So I'm not healed perfectly. I still am really afraid of certain things and certain aspects of my own mental health. I'm afraid to go back to school. I'm afraid of the future. I'm afraid of what's going to happen tomorrow, because we all know today's November 3rd. Today's November 2nd, Dia de los Muertos. But I don't know. I guess I just wanted to say, like, sorry, this is rambling, but mental health matters. You matter. And we're all going to have struggles. Everybody has something. And it's going to really suck sometimes. And believe me, I know it really sucks. And sometimes all you want to do is crawl up into a tiny little ball and cry and wish that nobody would find you. But the truth is, there are always going to be people out there who care. Even if you don't know them. Like, I can say, even if you feel like you have nobody, I care about you. I want you to do well. And so I guess I just made this video to tell you, like, in the cheesy way, like, in the style of Dear Evan Hansen, you are really not alone. There's so many people out there who are exactly like you. And you should embrace your differences, cherish them, and remember that you can still be an amazing, phenomenal person in spite or because of those differences. And so I guess that's all I have to say. I have to jump on to another meeting, but thank you for watching my video, and I hope to make it to 100 subscribers pretty soon. Bye!